Today we begin our second lifelike object using the shape rectangle. Here's where we are going, and to get there, we will first draw our tank, fill our tank with water, and then later add a scene and fish. So to get started, if you would get set up with page 14 in your sketchbook. So on page 14, the first thing we're going to do is a large rectangle. So if you watch the size rectangle I make, I don't need a lot of space on the bottom of the outside the bottom of the rectangle, should I say. So I'm going to draw a line like this. I'm then going to draw the side wall of my rectangle. So I'm going to lay that in here. Again, I don't need a lot of space on the side here. So looking at my paper, again, I'm going to lay on this, my straight edge on that edge, eyeball this, making sure that it looks somewhat even in size. I'm going to come here, and then I am going to close my rectangle. So again, I lay the edge here, looking that this looks similar in size. And I create a rectangle, erasing my overdraws a bit there. My next step is to 3D my rectangle. So I'm going to match up this corner with this corner, going for a diagonal line. Take my straight edge, I put it in this corner, I put it in this corner, in the attempt to get a nice diagonal here. I now need two more parallel diagonals. So I'm going to lay my straight edge here, and I'm simply going to pull my straight edge down slowly, hopefully evenly, till I get here to the corner, looking that this looks similar. Draw a straight line there. Now I want my diagonal here. I think this is probably one of the most difficult diagonals to get. Lay this here. I'm going to slide this direction as even as possible. And draw my diagonal there. This one looks rather light, which is probably good, so I can kind of eyeball it, see if it looks like a parallel diagonal. That's my goal. If it does, then you can darken it up. Now I want to close the back of my rectangle, and in doing so, I'm going to pick a spot here. Again, erase my overhang. I could go ahead and do a quick measurement, which means I would lay the corner on the dot and mark my edge. Come down here, lay my edge, mark my corner, and connect the dots. The other way is to take my straight edge, do an even slide straight across, and my whole goal is to end up at the dots, of which I did. Now my last line, again, it's not going to go where I ended this, but I want it to go parallel with this line, so I want it to go straight across. So in doing so, I'm going to lay my straight edge across here and do my best at equally moving it up till I get to this dot right here. And you might put a light line in just to simply see if these three lines are parallel. If not, you can fix it easily by erasing it and doing it again. I'm going to try it again because that is one of my toughest lines. So I lay it on here. I then do my best at an even slide. And I would say I'm pretty close. Right here. Erase your overhang. So I now have my 3D rectangle. Nice big outer sides of my fish tank. The next step is to draw a picture frame inside my front rectangle. So doing your best, and I'm going to use a number 2 pencil because it has a bit of a sharper lead. I'm going to draw here. Noticing this distance here, attempt to get a distance that's pretty similar to that. And inside your rectangle shape, do a picture frame. So you now have a picture frame inside that front rectangle. Also, picture frame this shape, attempting to get the same size the best you can. Paralleling each line. In my side fish tank. With that same picture frame space, we're going to do this side, the top of this side wall, and the back wall. Noticing that I went all the way over there and all the way here, but I did not go into either one of those picture frames. So now what I have left is to get my back walls of my fish tank in. So one of my back walls will come from here, parallel straight down. So from this corner here, draw a straight line, lift your pencil, do not go over the picture frame, and come down, not knowing exactly how far, down like that. Now you're going to come from this corner right here straight across parallel. And again, you're going to go across, lift your pencil. We don't want to go over top of our front of our fish tank to where it intersects. And my bottom edge at this point here where I intersect to this corner, I now have my back of my fish tank basic lines. Erase your overhang. Again, I always erase a little more than I need to, so I need to put that back in. So now what happens is, notice that this has 3 lines. 3 lines because that's a corner. This also is going to have 3 lines because it also is a corner. So I'm going to put, this is why I think using a sharp number 2 pencil works well. I would not use your number 6. I'm going to draw a line, lift my pencil, and come down. So I'm going to draw on both the right and the left side of that initial 1 line. So I come down, I lift my pencil, and I come here. So that is the back corner of my fish tank wall. Now I will do the same for this back wall. Go here, lift my pencil, and come in there. On each line, I'm just going to put a very thin line here. So that is the back. And I'm going to also do one on each side here. And here. And one here. To give this the illusion that it's the back walls of the fish tank, I'm going to take my blender stick, my dirty blender stick, and simply shade these in. So I've got the illusion going that I've got my front of my fish tank, my back of my fish tank. Now I have the water to put in. If I said put water in, this is what most people would do. Watch, but please don't do this. This is what not to do. Most people would go, okay, I'll fill my fish tank up, and they will do this. Well, there's several things that are wrong with just simply doing a line like this, filling your fish tank. One is I went over the front wall of my aquarium and it appears that my water is outside of my tank. 2, I've done this 3-dimensional rectangular fish tank, but my water doesn't follow the rules. So I'm going to show you what to do. Hopefully you're not having to erase. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and fill our fish tank up. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my straight edge and I am going to lay it parallel because generally the water sitting in a tank, as long as the table it's sitting on is somewhat flat, it's going to go straight across here, but here it is not going to cross over my line there, nor is it going to go this way here. To indicate that this is water, even though I know in a fish tank, this isn't what you see, even if you have a pretty heavily pumped filter, but just for my site, I'm going to draw my water a bit of a wiggly line. So there's my front fish tank water line. So that same water would actually go to here, but that's the metal of my fish tank. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my rectangle, I'm going to lay my straight edge right there. I'm not going to draw inside my front walls, but this would be my water line. This would be my water line. Now my water line on the back of my tank goes like this. It goes parallel to this line. So I am going to go a straight line all the way over to here. So looking here, I want to go parallel from this corner. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to lift my pencil and go to here. Then I would say that I am a bit off in holding it parallel. So I want to definitely fix that because I want this to, I would say I probably did not hold that parallel enough. I'm going to go right here. Let's try that again. I'm going to go here. I'm going to lift. I'm going to go here. And I'm going to go in there. Oh, yes, way better. And because this is my water line, I'm just going to make it squiggly for my site. I can always fix that and take that out when I begin to put the water in my tank if I don't like it. So notice that I've got the front wall of water, I've got this side wall, I've got the back wall. Now I need to get this side wall. You might already be ahead of me and realize that you're going to go parallel with this diagonal and you're going to go like this. And that's exactly what I am going to do. So I'm going to draw here. I'm going to lift. I don't want to go over the front wall of my fish tank. And I'm going to go there. It should be parallel with that diagonal. So now I've put my water line in. If I really want to get this looking like water, I'm going to then take my 6B pencil, which is my best shading pencil. I'm going to put water there. I'm going to put water here, water in here, water in here. And again, I'm just laying lead down so I have something to push around. And I'm rendering. Because it's a large area, I think what works best is paper towel, Kleenex, napkin. I'm now going to take a napkin and I'm going to rub. Noticing that I am attempting to not get lead in my white frame. Actually, I am a bit of a slob here, and I am getting it in my white frame. So what I will do is go back and clean up my white frame by erasing. It is fine if your back walls get a bit smudged, simply because they are back and water is on top of them and in front of them. So I've filled my tank up with water, and my next step would be to clean up and expose the white. Now, what I also can do is I can go in and maybe I want to make these fish tank supports. Maybe I want those to be dark black. I definitely could do that by thickening them up and making them dark black. But for the showiness of our beginning of drawing, I want to keep them white so you can see the difference between the actual tank and the water. So now our next step is to fill our tank with a scene, fill our tank with fish, and have fun with our tank. Individualize our tank would be a good way to put it. So in doing so, you will notice that I have attached some help pages, such as pages as this, pages of fish, a variety of fish, and a variety of scenes. Before you actually start yours, just a couple key tips. One is continue to tell yourself these are the front edges of your tank. So you definitely do not want anything to cover those. In fact, I'm going to do a simple scene in here and just give you a couple tips. This is the bottom of our aquarium. And the first thing I'm going to do is I want to do a tunnel sort of scene that fish always have fun crawling through a tunnel. Well, notice that my tunnel will cover up the back wall of my fish tank. I will notice a shade in here. I'm going to shade this in. That's of my tunnel. That kind of indicates the inner of my tunnel. But notice here that it covers the wall, the back wall of my tank. So I'm going to erase that and a shade over it. In fact, I'm even going to put some more shades in my tunnel because my tunnel is going to be a rough sort of a tunnel. So lay some lead down. You do not need to do a tunnel as I'm doing in yours. Have fun with it. Use my help sheets of different scenes to make yourself a creative fish tank scene. But what I wanted to show you is when you are putting stuff and you want to make it look like it's truly in your fish tank, then some of these key things need to be erased. I want to put some seaweed. Also remember the good techniques of a good composition. And that would be items that are overlapping, items that are touching, items that are different sizes, odd number of items. All of those different things make for an interesting composition. Maybe I want to put some rocks down here. Remember, with your 6B pencil, you can draw and then take your blender stick and move the lead around. So I would call my tunnel as a part of a scene, but it's not a fish, and yet each tank should include at least 3 fish or 3 sea-like objects. So say that I were going to do an angel type sort of fish swimming. In drawing my fish, I may draw it like this to get my basic drawing in. But if you notice right now, my fish is outside my tank. It does not look good. But you might begin your drawing process like this and then erase, because you want those walls back, and notice that your fish now looks like it is swimming in your tank. I'm going to put my walls back in so that I can show you. At first, my fish looked like it was outside my tank because it covered the walls of my tank. Don't want to do that. In fact, I kind of lost my walls a little bit by erasing. That might happen, which isn't any big deal. You simply redraw your lines, erase out the white, clean the white up, and redraw your lines. And then notice the 3-dimension look that you start to get when your fish is on the back side or over at the edge, swimming here. Put some markings in my fish, shade it in. So there I have a fish. Maybe here I want to put maybe a squid. So I know that good design means overlapping and things touching. Notice how I avoid the wall. Also notice that I'm going to erase because my squid covers over. Love that blender stick. It swallows and moves my lead around. So I've got a part of a scene going. I've got overlapping different size aquarium sort of animals. I'm going to put some seaweed back here. Again, I like to use the 6B because it gives me that chance of soft lead. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to do and I like to do it for sure in threes. So I'm going to put, let's see, I'll put a little tiny seaweed plant here. So I've got some seaweed here. I didn't really finish my seaweed going here. And I probably should have a third fish coming in. Maybe I want to put a fish with a face here and the tail out there. Maybe I just want to put a small fish here. You decide. Keeping in mind that a good composition has items in odd numbers, items of different sizes, items overlapping and touching. Have fun with it. And again, refer back. Maybe you want to make a shipwreck in your tank. Maybe you want to make a clamshell in your tank. And maybe you want to do, let's see, a variety of sorts of fish. Have fun and fill your tank up.